Well, good day, family. Good day to you. Welcome back to the channel, family. We're going to continue to talk about this experience that I had with when I was driving the bus for the youth camp for this church youth camp, very large youth camp, and then they had it every year, but it's no longer right now because it's just no longer right now. But anyway, so I was talking to these three young guys. They were 14 and 15 years old, and they saw my little iPhone 4, and they had all the latest and greatest iPhones. Everybody had the latest and greatest iPhones, and we had about 400 kids on this campus. So I was transporting them from place to place at certain times all day long, just in the heat. And it was fun because the kids were really excited. They were from all over the world coming to this youth camp, and it was very, very awesome. so, so I was sharing with you guys in the last video that I was um, showing the guys my phone because they asked about my phone. They was asking, "What is that?" And I told them it was an iPhone forever. So they just cracked up. And once again, they said, "When you do FaceTime, you can only leave half the face because that screen is so small." And they just cracking up. I said, "Oh man!" I said, "Okay." So I let them get that off. So when they got back on the bus and when they sit down, I could see them back there just laughing and cracking up. And the bus is full of kids. I mean, three to a seat. It was just jam packed. But so when they got off the bus, I said, "Hey guys, I need to share something with y'all." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I know y'all was cracking up about my phone and all." I said, "But check this out." I said, "Last year I bought Apple stock, and I said, guess what? I can buy all y'all the latest and greatest Apple phone, all of us, all four of us, and pay cash for it." And they was like, "Wait a minute." I said, "Hey, take a look." So I pulled up the stock, the chart and all that, and I showed them what it was for that day. So I had bought it $100 a share, and that day it was 200, a little bit over $200 a share. And I said, "Look at this. I bought at this amount," and I told them I was like $10,000. I said, "It's doubled in a year's time frame. It's worth $20,000 now." And so they was, "Oh, you're just a capitalist. You're just a capitalist." I said, "I'm not a capitalist." I said, "I give so much money away." Now, what I want to share with you all is, say for instance, I want to sell that, because it's been over a year now. It's got to be over a year because there's a long term capital gains that you pay, or short term. Anything less than a year, short term. Anything over a year is long term. Okay, so if I wanted to donate, say, that $10,000 of that capital gains, and not any of my principal, but 10,000, I want to give that to the church. Say, for instance, earmark it for the youth camp. I can now. There's a form you got to fill out online or in whatever, but then I can donate that money to the church because it's a qualified nonprofit organization, and I wouldn't have to pay any taxes on it. Not cashing out and give it to them, but letting it roll over from my stocks of that Apple into the nonprofit organization.